that if leaders of the party have seen this action by whoever is in the administrative office, because it wasn't signed by national publicity, I want to remove the end of this. I've spoken to my state chairman, I've spoken to my LGA chairman of the party, and I have gotten their blessings that I'm one of the upstanding members of this party. I have never done anti-party. I have never disparaged the party in public space. But if, because we ask for the right thing to be done in a political party, which includes and not limited to calling on the National Secretary, Sam Ayamu, to resign and go and set his gubernatorial ambition in Imo State. If that is the reason why all of this is coming up, and they should get ready, because I'm not going to relent. The people I represent will not relent, because we want an outstanding party. Look at
let me come in here.
Happening in the APC.
Right, let me come in here, Mr. Ehilebo.
There's a lot of people.
Pardon me, let me come in here, because, I mean, just to put it in context, that statement was signed by National Director of Publicity, PDP, Chinwe Noram, for the NPS. So I imagine that's the National Publicity Secretary. That's, who signed that statement. But, this touches at a very, very fundamental issue, which we saw play out in the build-up to this election, and, of course, we'll see playing out afterwards. And that's the participation of young people in politics. As I said, there have been several reactions to this one. And I recall that at some point, I think the presidential candidate of your party, Mr. Atiku Abubakar, had put up a tweet mentioning you, commending you for the work you had done. So it looked like, to that extent, at least you have a relationship with the campaign council, the presidential campaign council of your party. But take a look at other, reactions from young people across party lines. And you have Tolo Ogulesi. A lot of people will know Tolo Ogulesi, who's a presidential aide on social media as well. And this is what he had to say about that particular tweet from your party, saying that the PDP is a really interesting party. Looks like the anti-Atiku faction is now fully in charge of the Twitter handle. That's a tweet from Tolo Ogulesi. If you could just pull that up for our viewers to see right there. So, Anthony, there have been several reactions. There's this one also from Indy. You know Indy Kato. You guys were in the PDP together before she moved to the Labour Party. And, she was saying that PDP should know how to manage people. There you see that one, that a party in opposition cannot treat its members in such manner, saying that this is a shame and exposes why many young people have left the party. And my question for you is, do you feel betrayed to be aired out in such manner after your rigorous campaigning for the party? A lot of people who have seen you on social media, speaking for your party, tackling other, supporters of different political parties. Do you feel betrayed?
Well, I to be honest with you, Kayode, I'm totally not to talk about the damage to my professional self. I'm a lawyer and I'm a media consultant. I have not used that appellation in the last 3 years, so I wonder why, if not an intentional attack on my person, anybody would release that sort of statement. But you see, they intended to cause damage to me, and inadvertently have done spurious damage to themselves. Go and look at the post. All the comments. You're supposed to make a post on social media or make a post in the news and carry an effect of people supporting it. But this is the negative that we have from this. And again, I will go back to the fact that young people, by that statement, have been one hand swept under the carpet as if they don't even have any place to fall under in the PDP. But I know that there are very resilient people in the political party called PDP. I know that this is a storm in the teacup, not something that one should be I'm really worried about, but I'm more concerned about the party retracting that particular statement, because I was the head of new media under Kola Ologbodi, and anybody that refused that party has had evidence to go out, and like you published it, they actually even put it on that same handle. But the case here, it should not be personal. We should look at how they have decided to wish away a very critical part of communication, which is digital communication and the whole digital world, as it applies to them, passing their message and endearing themselves to young people. We know that, I know that I don't lack the support of young people across the country. I know that my integrity is still intact, but I'm more worried about the perception of the party. I'm worried about that people are not even thinking that instead of disciplining people who have gone against the party, done anti-party, made our efforts in the party look like a waste, You are encouraging them, you are bringing them back, and then those that you think are people who cannot even raise a flower or raise a storm in the teacup, you are now deciding to use them as victims because they have spoken up against them. I mean, what is wrong in telling someone that is going for an election that you cannot handle these two positions? We know this.
Right.
We know that these are the consequences of that. If you don't go and focus on your election, let me say something. There are people that we have seen fail somehow in their elections because they had an alternative job, perhaps on the campaign. I'm speaking in 2019 in regards to someone like Senator Saraki. I think his major distraction in 2019 that he was the DJ of the campaign. So we're saying, and I have campaigned, I have been an aspirant as well. I know what the responsibilities are on an aspirant. And that's why we said, look, if you are the secretary of the party, remain as secretary of the party. If you want to contest as the gubernatorial candidate of the PDP in Imo State, go back and do that.
So that's essentially